Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. I was just editing a PowerPoint. It's called Why Do We Have to Make So Many PowerPoints? Featuring way too much text on slides, reading to your audience in a boring monotone, and, let's not forget, word art. Anyway. So today I want to talk to you about Nearpod, which is a way that you can make interactive slideshow presentations to use with your students. By making your presentation interactive, you can make sure students stay engaged with the lesson, and by changing up the types of activities you do, you can tie Nearpod into pretty much any type of curriculum. You're also incorporating UDL principles into your teaching, which will help any student find success with your lessons. With a premium plan, you can even integrate Nearpod's features into Google Slides, which allows you to take existing presentations you already have and add these kind of interactive elements to them to make them more interesting for your students. I'm extremely lucky because my district pays the premium Nearpod plan, so I get to experience those benefits. So there's a couple of different ways that you can structure a Nearpod lesson when working with students. You can do live participation where you lead a group of students through your pre-planned activities, student-paced where students can access your presentation individually to complete at their own speed, and front of class, which lets you watch a video as a class and embed questions throughout. One of the benefits of this front of class option is that students don't need their own devices to complete it. Like I've mentioned in a few of my previous videos, I teach high school art, so the context in which I use Nearpod may not be the same for you. In particular, I'm likely to use Nearpod in a very different way than an elementary teacher, whose students aren't likely to have their own devices. So hopefully you'll still be able to find something out of this video that you can adapt to your own teaching practice. So this is the main library page that you receive when you first log into Nearpod. As you can see, I already have a couple of presentations that I've created to use with my students, but before we jump into them, I want to show you a couple of options in this sidebar. At the top we have My Lessons, which has everything you've saved to your library. This includes lessons you've created, as well as lessons you've added to the library through other means. The next option we have is Reports. This shows you all the information from when you've run your Nearpod presentation. As you can see here, I've recently completed a Balance and Mandalas Nearpod with my Visual Arts 9 students. I can click into that report to get a detailed breakdown of all the information students entered into the interactive elements of the presentation. This is awesome for formative assessment, as I can see who was engaged in the lesson and who wasn't. Subplans allows you to create a presentation designed to be used by a substitute teacher. This is one of those premium features that I haven't really had the chance to play around with yet, but if you have, chime in down below in the comments. The next two options, School and District Library, are designed to let you share lessons within your school and your district as a whole. Then we have the Nearpod Library. This is the real hidden gem of Nearpod. Teachers are extremely busy people. We may be super engaged with the idea of incorporating Nearpod into our lessons, but not have the time to make the presentation from scratch. Or maybe we aren't super confident in our abilities and would like to see how another teacher approaches a topic that we were planning to cover anyway. From the Nearpod library, you can view and save Nearpods that have been created by other teachers using Nearpod. So if I wanted to do a lesson on the history of women's rights, I can click on one that another teacher has made and save it to my library. Once I have it in my library, I can use it with my students, or make modifications to it to make it more relevant for my students. It's fantastic. Really, the only complaint I have is that so many of these lessons are very US-centric, which I think is just a reflection of where most of Nearpod's user base lives. They give you a drop-down menu here that allows you to select the state that you teach in. So my feature request would be to allow you to sort this information by country for those of us who aren't American. Regardless, the search function is excellent, and at the very least, it's super easy to find a jumping off point that can be adapted for your specific needs. Anyway, let's go back to the library, which I can get to by clicking on the Nearpod logo. Let's jump into a Nearpod to see how this thing works. I'm currently working on a presentation on the National Gallery of Canada to give my students a sort of virtual field trip to Ottawa so they can experience some amazing Canadian art. Let's jump into that presentation and see what kind of tools we have to work with. This is the editor view. It shows me all of my slides displayed like a grid, so I can quickly jump in and edit any of the slides I've already created. I can also upload materials like PDFs or PowerPoint files that can be embedded into my Nearpod. For now though, I'm going to click on Add Content and Activities to see some of the cool stuff we can do. As you can see, there's a wealth of options to choose from to engage your students. I strongly recommend playing around with these to see what works for you. I'm going to click on Scroll for more. This gives me a list of all the different activities I can include to complete with students. Most of these are self-explanatory. I will quickly highlight Time to Climb as a Kahoot-like competition mode, where students answer questions and compete for points. Great for review. For now, I'm going to jump into a Collaborate board. Collaborate boards allow students to give you their thoughts on the topic of your choice. And you can have it displayed on your projector so everyone can see what others are thinking. They can share text, images, videos, recorded audio, or animated GIFs. You can also set the permissions so that you have to approve student comments if that's a concern that you have. I think these are great for starter activities, so that's how I'm going to use it here. First, I'll give it a title, National Gallery of Canada. And then in the description, I'll give students a prompt that I want them to respond to. In this case, what kind of art might you expect to see in this gallery? So that's what students will respond to when they get to this Collaborate board. Then all I have to do is click Save and it'll be added to my presentation. Now we're back at the editor view and you can see my Collaborate board has been added to my list of slides. There is one other activity I really want to show you that's useful for art teachers. This activity is called Draw It. In this activity, students have the opportunity to flex their creativity and draw something in response to a prompt that you provide. I often use this tool in relation to the elements of art and principles of design, as it lets me easily check for understanding and gather evidence to use when planning my assessments. So let's create one now. From my editor view, I click Add New. Just like with the Collaborate board, I'll have to scroll to see more options. Then I click Draw It. From here, I could add Draw It activities from the library or make my own. I'm going to upload an image to use with my prompt by clicking here. I can do a Google search for an image that will fit in with my presentation, or I can add one from Google Drive, Dropbox, or OneDrive. Or I can just drag and drop if I have a picture already on my computer. I saved a picture earlier, so let's drag that in now. This is an image of the spider sculpture that students will have seen from earlier in the presentation. Now I can add some text to go along with my image. I'll say, recreate this sculpture through your drawing. Then, if I want, I can add a timer by clicking here. I'll give students 5 minutes to complete this drawing activity. I just click Add, and I'm done. Once I click Save, it'll be added to my presentation. Now we're back in the editor view, and we can see that I've got 5 slides all about the National Gallery of Canada. If I want, I can preview this presentation, or I can save and exit. I'm going to save and exit for now, and we're going to run a live demo of this Nearpod. To do this, I'm going to hover over my art gallery lesson, and I'll have the choice of live participation or student paste. I'm going to click on Student Paste. This gives me a code that I can paste in my Google Classroom or email out to students, or even embed on my class website. Also, because I'm just running a demo of this activity, I'm going to deselect the option to require student responses and prevent skipping. When students put this code in, they'll get the chance to complete my Nearpod. I'm going to put this code in on another device and quickly run through the Nearpod. So I'm here in the Nearpod app on my iPad. And the first thing it wants me to do is enter a code. This is great for students, but if you're a teacher, you can also jump in and edit Nearpods on an iOS device as well. So I'm going to put my code in here and click Join. The first thing it wants me to do is put my name in and then enter a nickname. The full name part is really important for your students because when you view your report, it's really important that you have their full name so you know who's contributed what to your lesson. So I'm going to put in my name, Chris, if I can type. And I can enter a nickname if I want. I don't really want to do that right now, so I'm going to join the lesson. Once the lesson is loaded in, I'm presented with the front page of my presentation. I've created this earlier on the website. It's just the main title for my slideshow. If I want, I can click on this book and speaker icon here to have the text read to me. Because I'm set up for student paste right now, I can just click through this at my leisure. If it was live participation, the teacher decides when you move to the next slide. So I'll click on the next arrow. This is my 360-degree map of the outside of the National Gallery of Canada. This is my spider sculpture. It's going to be the focus for this presentation today. Because I'm on a touchscreen device, I can scroll all around and look at everything outside of the National Gallery of Canada. Because the goal of this presentation was to create a sort of virtual field trip, it's really helpful to be able to have this 3D interactive map that helps students feel like they're there. So I'll scroll back over here to the spider, and then I'll click on the next arrow again. So the next activity it's loading is a video. I've embedded this video about the National Gallery of Canada as an introductory activity for students. This will introduce them to the idea of the gallery and the kind of collections that they have there. If I hadn't deselected the option to require student response and prevent skipping, they would have to watch this video before they continue with the presentation. I'm not going to watch that video today, which is why I deselected that option. Here on the next slide, we have our Collaborate board. So we created this in the web interface, and now it's here for me to participate in. So at the top, you see my title, National Gallery of Canada, and my description. What kind of art might you expect to see in this gallery? I can click on Share My Thoughts, and I can write famous Canadian artwork. Going back to our universal design for learning principles, Students who may not be as confident with their typing can import an image, record a video, or even record their voice in response to your question. They can even attach an animated GIF. So I've written famous Canadian artwork. Then I just click this blue button here with the envelope to put it on my collaborate board. By default, I've got it set so that the names are hidden. That means students can't see who's written what content, but you can, as the teacher, always see who's written what. Students have the ability to like others' comments or make a comment of their own in response. So now that I've completed the collaborate board, I'm gonna click on the next arrow again. Now we're on the draw it slide. So I've got my image at the top and the prompt, recreate the sculpture through your drawing. I've got lots of different tools to do this. There are a couple of different widths of pen or pencil. There's an eraser, there's some shading tools, and a ruler for scale. You can choose lots of different colors to use, and if you click on the More menu, you can turn on or off Draw with Finger. If I want to add some text, I click on the title, and it brings up a text box. If I want to import an image, I can do so from a camera roll, Google Drive, Dropbox, Box.com, or OneDrive. Or, because I'm on a device with a camera, I can click on the camera icon and take a picture to include in this draw it. If I click on this blue arrow at the top here, it gives me my prompt again. And the goal is that students will create a drawing of this spider. I'm not gonna take you through that right now. Once they're finished, they can hit submit, and it takes you through to the end of the Nearpod. So that's it. A quick overview on how to use Nearpod in your lessons and how I use Nearpod with my art students. I hope you found something useful in today's video. If you have any questions or want to share how you use Nearpod in your own teaching practice, drop a comment below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to see all my new videos every week. That's it for me. See you next time.